back. FPL Fan Focus.
Well, hey.
Hey.
Hello, listeners. We're back yet again. A second episode for you this week. What a treat. Got your main men, Ricky, Pellegrini and NVD. How are you doing, gents?
Not too bad. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for hosting us yet again.
You're welcome, mate. Don't eat too many of those cucumber and cream cheese sandwiches, though. They're just for show, Pelly. Guys, I hope you're excited. We are amongst the legend in the FPL community.
Forward to hearing some insightful tips and see where we've been going wrong all these years.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because I just played my Wildie. I need some tips pronto.
Same here, MVD. It's all about the Wildie this week for me and MVD, I've got to say.
Well, let's see how that goes. But guys, without any further ado, I want to introduce the man. It is FPL Salah. FPL Salah, how are you doing?
I'm good, yeah, thanks, guys. How are you?
Very well, man. Very well. Really looking forward to chatting to you. Listeners, if you follow FPL Salah on Twitter, you will know that this gent has had 4 top 1K ranks, 4 top 10K ranks. He's come 70th in the Sky Fantasy Football. And he's even in the Hall of Fame, which was new to us guys just now on the call, but 53rd in the Hall of Fame. That's quite some credentials, FPL Salah. How have you managed all that?
Yeah, it's a fantasy football scout Hall of Fame, which is kind of widely quite popular among like the fantasy football community. I've just been playing for as long as I can remember. I think my first season was 2006-07 season, so been playing for over like 13 years. So yeah, got a bit of experience behind me. Right. So
certainly experience and some fantastic results, some very good experience, I'd say. And we're very excited to ask you a few questions today. We're going to be telling your story a little bit, getting some intel, some tips and some tricks from you, which the community can hopefully listen to and really take away with them to improve their own teams. So I think without any further ado, FPL Salah, first question, Salah or Mane?
I think you know the answer to that.
Had to ask. Obviously, Salah. Okay.
Of course. I love Mane as well, by the way. Great player.
He is a great player, but I think we all would agree with you, Salah, as well. We had that chat yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a regular listener of our show, which I'm sure you are, or it could be your first listen, but we've got a regular on there, Sean the John McGinn fanboy, also from Scotland. And I'm just wondering, do you love John McGinn as much as Sean the John McGinn fanboy? If not, who's your favourite Scottish international?
My favourite Scottish international? I'd probably have to go back a bit. Like maybe like somebody like Colin Hendrick. I just remember his when we were doing well. He had fantastic hair, and he was like the kind of the backbone of the defence, and done well under his leadership. So yeah, probably somebody like him. I mean, more recently, probably got to say somebody like Andrew Robertson. He's kind of putting Scotland on the map.
Best left back in the world right now, right?
Hands down.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you can argue that, yeah.
We were saying you guys did quite well in the midweek as well with John McGinn and McTominay and Robertson. You're getting quite a team together. Yeah,
they're doing well. I mean, like this is the first time I remember Scotland actually doing well in the tournament. Since I was a kid. 2 good results. I kind of hope to be on course to be qualifying. So yeah, fingers crossed.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for you. It'd be nice to meet you again in the main competition.
Yeah, it'd be great.
You might get us this time.
Yeah.
I had to get that in. Anyhow, moving on swiftly. In terms of FPL Salah, what's your highest ever finish? I know you got 4 top 1Ks.
Mm-hmm. My highest ever finish was 604th, which I got quite a long time ago now in 2009, 2010 season. So that's my highest ever. Yeah.
Excellent. And how are you getting on this year? Where's your current rank at the moment?
I've actually had quite a good start. I'm ranked 103k, which obviously it's early days. I mean, there's like very little points between ranks at the moment, but yeah, it's a good start. And I mean, especially, I've seen it's been a crazy start to the season, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And a lot of top managers have got off to like shocking starts. I know some of the best managers in the world who rank 3 and 4 million at the moment. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. Really happy with my start. Hopefully I can keep it going.
That is solid. I mean, top 103k. That's really good. Very good.
It's amazing.
What has been your all-time favourite FPL memory, FPL Salah?
Yeah, well, I've had quite a few good memories. Obviously, I've been playing so long, but I mean, one that really stuck in my head. I mean, one that I always remember was. I mean, I've had captain players have scored a hat trick and that, but it's not been my favourite. My favourite was probably when I captained Ryan Sessegnon for Sunderland. Right, I think this was back in 2011-12 season. It was a double game week. We blanked in the first game. I remember exactly where it was. I was driving in the car, had the radio on, and it was a second game, and it was in 90th minute, and I was just feeling so dejected because I just I had a captain blank, and I just hear the commentator just shouting Sessegnon, and then I just went ballistic, and it's just something that just sticks in my memory, and it's just that feeling of jubilation you get, when your player scores, and especially when you you felt like it was all over, and then just suddenly it isn't.
In the last minute of the game as well, right?
It was right at the last minute. I think it was the 93rd or 94th minute. I don't know how long you guys.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that, but that was awesome. And
I do remember. I remember Sessegnon. I was going to say bold decision captaining him.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was really actually, because at that time I'm sure it was only Sunderland that had a double game week, or it was one or two teams, and so he was the best option. But yeah, I mean, remember loads of other people had him as captain in that game as well. But yeah, it just felt so good.
Yeah, it doesn't get better than that. I think the thing is this year, that last minute goal goes in, but this year you've got VAR, and then you've still got to wait a 4 minutes.
Oh, that's terrible.
Ruining the game, right?
Yeah. Celebrate too soon.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, it's taking the fun out of it, a bit.
Is a little bit, but that's great. Great intro there, FPL Salah. I'm going to pass you over to NVD. He's got a few more technical-ish questions for you. So NVD, take it away, mate.
Yeah, I mean, look, FPL Salah, we've heard, the results you've been getting season upon season. So clearly, it's not all pure luck, and I'm sure there's a lot of time that goes into planning your team. So I mean, on average, how long do you spend on planning your team for, let's say, an upcoming game week?
To be honest, over the years, it's got less and less. I mean, obviously, since I got married, it's been a lot less, and when you have kids and that. But yeah, I mean, before I used to spend hours and hours, but I've kind of realised over the years, I mean, you don't need to spend that much time on it. I mean, it probably works to your detriment, actually, if you start overthinking moves and things like that. But honestly, now I'll probably spend it out around about 20 to 30 minutes a week on my team overall. I mean, I'll have a wee look once the game week finishes, just to see where I am, what I might do, and then I'll just leave it, and then I'll just wait until Thursday, Friday, once all the press conferences are over, and then have a proper look then.
That's less than you, Pellers. You're overthinking it in the toilet, mate, when you're in there.
That's the thing, though, right? So you choose your team, and then you've got the rest of the week. This is the worst thing about this international break. I've just had too much time to think about it. So I've changed my team about 20 times. Good job I got a wild card. At least I'm not getting point deductions.
Yeah.
For strong advice, though, if you want to keep your marriage, 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I need to learn. I think my wife said that if we ever get divorced, that's going to be the sole reason that she's going to put down on the paper.
FPL.
That's it. FPL. That's it. She's cursing the words. But I mean, speaking about kind of planning your team, then FPL Salah, do you when you're planning the team, and especially your transfers? I mean, do you always kind of go in with a foundation of the team for the season? There's kind of your mainstays. Or are you kind of focused more on just looking at certain game weeks ahead, and maybe like two to three game weeks out, and then really that just becomes the fulcrum of how you set your team up and then how you plan your transfers week on week?
Yeah, so pretty much I won't look more than like the maximum I'll probably look ahead in the future is like 5 game weeks. So I'll probably look at it in about 3 to 5 game weeks ahead. I don't think there's much point in looking much further ahead because just so much can happen within that time. I mean, if you just look at before game week 1, before the season started, what players were kind of on our radars and which players weren't, and then now it's just totally different. So, I mean, 2 or 3 weeks in FPL is a long time. So, yeah, I mean, again, over the years, I've just found that, planning about 3 to 5 game weeks maximum is probably optimal. Yeah, I mean, I'd obviously never look at, kind of setting myself up for the season.
Sure.
I probably have a few players who I think that will be in my team most likely for the duration of the season, but that's like very few. I mean, you're probably looking at maybe 1 or 2 players, 3 maximum, who would be in the team all season long. But apart from that, yeah, you're looking at just kind of playing the fixtures.
Makes sense. And then just like on the theme of transfers, I mean, these make and break your season, or how you perform in your mini leagues, etc. But I mean, over the course of your FPL tenure, I mean, what transfers have really worked out for you, and those that have just absolutely bombed and have costed you potentially?
Oh, you mean this season, or just like?
I mean, just in general. But I mean, if there's anything for this season as well, that's always useful to know.
Yeah, this season would be good. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I've only made 2 transfers this season. I think, yes. So I'm quite patient and quite reserved when it comes to transfers in the game. So this season, I can't really comment on the transfers. I mean, the transfers I have made this season was Susek to Podence and Aubameyang to KDB, and none of them have really worked out. But I mean, in the past, I mean, I think transfers which have bitten me most of the time is when I'm not patient enough with good players. So in the early days, I just wouldn't be patient enough, and I did kind of hop from premium to premium, and then miss their hauls and bringing the players at the wrong time. Whereas over time, I've realised for example, KDB's blanked in the last 2 games, but maybe 5 or 6 seasons ago, he'd be gone. But no, I mean, there's no way I'm getting rid of KDB because he's just an amazing FPL asset.
That's a great point.
He's going to get points no matter what.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know that conversation we had yesterday on yesterday's podcast, and we said you've got to have the patience because there's so much chat out there. If you actually go on the forums and people are like, now it's time to go. Like you say, he's blanked in the last 2 weeks. That's the first time, wasn't it, for like 21 game weeks where he's blanked.
Oh, is it?
Well, yeah, he's the second most transferred out player, and like you say, FPL Salah, it's being too knee jerk, right, and getting out, and then he still ended up one of the best players in the Premier League last few seasons. So it's kind of
exactly. I mean, he's going to churn out points week in, week out. I mean, yeah, and it's a good point you noted there. I mean, there's so much noise now. I mean, there's FPL Twitter, there's forums. I mean, there's podcasts left, right, centre.
Yeah,
and you need to. I know what I've found. what I've found. I mean, so some obviously podcast. I'm not dissing podcasts here, but I'm just saying that there's so many different opinions.
Yeah.
And so many different
for sure.
How people play the game, and honestly, I found that it's just. I mean, especially if you're on a wild card like you two guys are, it's honestly best just to kind of drown out that noise, make your own decisions, and then maybe like on Thursday, Friday, a day before the deadline. Have a wee look, to see, kind of reinforce your decisions rather than kind of going out asking people, like a lot of people do, and it's just, I mean, you ask 5 people and 5 people will give you 5 different opinions. So
it
can get to you.
So true.
So you drown out the noise.
That's sound advice. Definitely applicable for those on the Wildie as well. No, it's great. I mean, I think, look, you touched on it as well in terms of there's not that many players that you hold on to for the whole season. But, for our listeners, if there were, in the current season and how you've seen players perform, if there were any top 3 players you probably want to hold on to for the whole season, what would be your recommendation other than Mo Salah?
Well, yeah, I'm going to say Mo Salah. I mean, not just because I like him, because he is. I mean, he is the best and most reliable asset in the game. I feel for the past 3 seasons, he has been. If you look at his underlying